So my biggest takeaway was just that if done properly, it's really not that difficult.
All right, so what I'm going to do now is going to interview my friend Ann, who started training with me early this year and has had some incredible results to discuss about. So, Ann, tell me a little bit about where your health was before we started working together in regards to your weight, body fat, how you were feeling, and all that kind of stuff.
Well, I weighed significantly more than I currently weigh. So I was probably about 75 pounds overweight by like medical standards. I was really having a hard time, primarily with my mental health, which was what had inspired me to want to try to do something different to begin with. You know, I knew from years and years ago that exercising was a huge help for me with my mental health. So I really just wanted to get back on something for that purpose. But so I would say weight was definitely way higher than it should have been. And I was really having a hard time with my mental health as well.
Okay. But what specific problems, obstacles that you were having or struggles were you looking for help with at that time?
More than anything, like I've always said, because I like to read and research, and I've struggled with my weight literally my entire life. I've been overweight since the 4th grade. I was only not overweight for a small period of time. And so I always say, like, I know what to do. I just never, knew how to put it into play, really. So I was interested in finding maybe a way to have someone help me that I could, just figure out like how to put it all together. Like, I feel like I was kind of too on information overload. Like I was always willing to try like things. My friends were like, oh, I'm going to sell this. And it worked for me. I lost 30 pounds, or, I've done keto in the past, or lots of things like that. So I felt like I just needed help putting like a real life way together.
Yeah. Yeah. What made you reach out to me over anybody else that's out there?
Well, one I had done several years ago, I had done your climb classes. I had taken a class at one of my friend's daughter's dance studios that a woman named Kim did, and I really liked the format of what she had done. So she had told me she modeled it off of you. So I knew from watching or from having done a couple of your workouts in the past that I liked the style that you did. And then because I followed a lot of your social media, one thing that I liked was that I recognized a lot of the people that I had recognized from a few years back when I had done the classes. So I figured, well, if people are still working out with him 3-4 years later, he must be okay. And I would say overall, though, the main thing was that you seemed to have a more realistic approach for people in my position, in my opinion. Like, I have a busy job. I have 3 boys who are very busy. Like, you seemed to have like a more realistic approach to people who were trying to live a regular life, that their life wasn't going to be able to revolve around their fitness.
Yeah. Is there anything that almost prevented you from starting this up?
I would say initially just like the cost. I was like, well, that seems, which in the end, I would tell everybody that I promise that you waste way more money on other stuff. So that, to me, the fact that I was a little bit gun shy about the cost, but money's money. And then more than anything, just that I wasn't going to be able to do it.
Yeah. So maybe you had some concerns about sticking with it. What made you pull the trigger?
More than anything, just I had a situation the summer before this, in the summer of 2023, where I really was not feeling good because of my mental health. And I just was like, I need to do something different. And I feel like maybe addressing my physical health could go a long way in helping take care of that. So I just like, and after I had a couple conversations with you about it, I just felt like, maybe he can really be the person to help motivate me to stay committed for once.
Yeah. What has been your biggest takeaway of this whole thing that we've been doing, all the stuff we've done? Or you've done most of the work, but like what's been your biggest takeaway?
Just that there is really no, I always thought there was like some sort of magic formula, or that there was something like, oh, it's got to be like this. Just that there isn't really anything. It's just all the things, it's not, I know I say all the time that it's not hard, and I feel like that might sound, but it's really not hard. You just have to it's very simple things, and you just have to continue to do them all the time. It's not complicated. I think I always made it way more complicated than it needed to be. Like, yeah, it's hard to stay committed to something, you know what I mean? But it's not like any of the things in and of themselves are actually difficult. Like it's not hard to eat mostly whole foods. It's not hard to exercise 30 minutes a day. Like I think so my biggest takeaway was just that if done properly, it's really not that difficult.
Right. Yeah. So it sounds like you've made some shifts in how you were doing things a little bit before to now. What are some of those big shifts you've made?
I would say the biggest shift for me overall has definitely been that I was very much all or nothing before. Like before, if I could not do something like absolutely perfect, which this is the first time I've actually done more of a moderate diet. I've always done something extreme. So I would say the biggest shift for me though is not burning the whole thing down every time. Like tomorrow, if I eat 5 pieces of candy out of my kid's Halloween bag, Friday morning, I'm just gonna start over. I'm not gonna have any more candy. In the past, I would have like said, well, that's it, I'm done. Like I'm gonna restart my entire diet on Monday and I would eat whatever I wanted all weekend and stuff. So I think just being more, approaching it more as a lifestyle. So for me though, not burning the whole thing down when one thing doesn't work the way it's supposed to though, has been definitely the biggest thing for me.
Nice. Awesome. So you've had quite the results. You've had quite the transformation. Thinking back, and you've touched on your mental health and some stuff. Where's your health and fitness now compared to what it was?
Well, my physical fitness has definitely come a long way. Like when I first started, like for the first couple months, I wouldn't even do the climb classes live because I was like, I'm constantly having to take breaks. And like, I feel like I, look like, I look like I don't know what I'm doing, which I still sometimes look like that, and that's okay. But, so my physical fitness, has come, miles away. Like I had, set a goal that I wanted to be able to walk a race and I ended up being able to mostly run it. And, so my physical fitness, like to me, there's no comparison to when I first started. The only thing that I did was walk my dog. So my physical fitness has come miles.
Yeah, totally. Tangible results. I mean, you've lost a significant amount of weight, right?
Yeah, almost 50, I think close to 55 pounds. So I know.
Carrying a 55-pound dumbbell weight, that just hits home, right?
Yeah, and I can totally tell a difference in my body. Like before I started this, like I always would say, like, oh, my back hurts, my hip hurts. Like it wasn't anything that was unmanageable, but it was definitely things that I just thought were, oh, because I'm getting older, because whatever. Those things are all completely gone.
Yep. And strength and endurance. I mean, let's go to this. Like when we met, you wrote down your goals, and one of your goals was to walk the half marathon to Detroit, which was just 2 weeks ago, to walk it, right? And tell us about how you did with that.
Well, my original goal was to walk it, and I actually set it as a goal because I did not think that it would be obtainable to be. I mean, I know I told you this 100 times. I was like, I'm going to get picked up by the Pacer bus at 18, the walking time I think was around 18 minutes a mile. So, and I, pretty early on, I think I just decided, you had said a couple times, like, you should just see, like, you probably have a little something left in the tank. And then I was like, okay, well, I can maybe go a little bit faster. So then I set, my first goal. So my original goal was the 18 minutes a mile. And then I wanted to be able to do it at 15 minutes a mile. And then as it got closer, I was like, I want to be able to do it under 3 hours. So, and then I ultimately ended up running the majority of it and doing it in a 12-minute mile range, so that was, to go from
unbelievable
to go from thinking I wasn't going to be able to do it in 4 hours. And then ultimately that day that I went into it, I was like, my absolute dream goal for this day would be able to do it in under 2 hours and 45 minutes. And I did that. So that was, and more than anything, it was just really, really fun. I had known a lot of people who had done it in the past. And I always thought like, oh, I would love to do that. That looks like such an experience, but I would never be able to do that. And so just to even the fact that I was able to train my body to do it in, in a time that I felt extremely proud of for myself, that was one thing. But just even the fact that I was able to do it because I had wanted to do it, like it was literally so much fun.
I will say, like when I saw you down there running that, You had a smile on your face every time you passed by me, and I know it's a lot of work out there, and it's a little bit grueling, but you did, and you enjoyed it. And
Yeah, but I mean, it was really just fun. Like I wanted to experience it. So the fact that I even was able to get to a position where I could experience it, that to me was amazing.
yeah, and just for everybody's sake, like you weren't a runner before this, right? Like,
Oh my gosh, no. When I first started, I started with the couch to 5K, and it was, I want to say 10-second running intervals, and I couldn't even actually run to the corner of my street. So that was why, to me, that was why though, because some people might think it's silly to be, because most people could walk 18 miles or 13 miles, but to do that at an 18-minute pace, I mean, when I started, that would have been a challenge for me.
yeah,
So yeah, no, I was not a runner at all.
so that the strength, the endurance, you did that race, you feel better on the outside about how you're doing things. How about internally? Like, what mindset shifts have you made since we started working on this?
I feel like because I really struggle with anxiety, and a lot of it is related to health issues. So that was like my number one concern, was just that I wanted to, be in a place where I was working on my physical health. So that way, maybe that would alleviate some of the worry, like, oh, these things aren't going to happen to my body as I age because I'm actively, I mean, some things will just happen because we're aging and whatever, but I wanted to not worry that the way that I lived was going to negatively impact my health. And so I think that, it's helped with that. I mean, I definitely have a lot less anxiety. I think I've really learned too, which I thought was very valuable, was just to trust my body a lot more. Like, I feel like people probably don't realize what their body is capable of. Like, your body is designed to feel good. You know what I mean? And I think that we don't realize that just because we feel like crap because of how we treat it. So I think learning to trust my body has been really, really helpful. Like, I've learned that if you treat your body well, it's capable of doing a lot of good things.
Yeah, and that's true. That's good coaching. It's good coaching tips. Your body can do more than you think, and I like that. The structure of this, and I think you hinted at it, like, for a busy professional, mom of three, running all that is one thing, but also then incorporating some new habits and lifestyle changes, very difficult. I mean, how was the structure of this coaching experience for you?
I really feel like the way that this program was designed was really largely what made it most possible for me. One, because, your workouts can be done anytime, anywhere. So when I'm able to get on live and do them, that's great because I love the environment. When I'm not, I know I can do them, I can do it at 5 o'clock in the morning. I can do it at 7 o'clock at night. I can do it, I work out almost exclusively in my basement, which is great because, I know it probably sounds dramatic, but when you're running around 3 kids and working a full-time job and stuff, even taking, 10 minutes back and forth to drive to the gym, that can sometimes make the difference between whether or not you can fit it in. So the flexibility to be able to, do the workouts when and where I could fit them in, I think that made a huge difference in making this successful for me.
Sure. So scale of 1 to 10, how satisfied are you with doing this program like this?
Oh, an absolute 10. I would actually recommend it to anybody. I always want to tell people, don't go buy whatever your friend is selling. Just try this instead, please.
Yeah, good. Anything else you want to add?
No, I don't think so. I just feel like, it's been just been a phenomenal experience. I know I've told you this before, and I know it probably sounds like I'm being dramatic, but, addressing my physical health in the way that you've helped me do it has really honestly made every area of my life better. So
good to hear it. And we're not done yet. We're going to continue to mold you and to do some different things in different directions with some goals, right?
Yeah, I still have some stuff I want to work on, and then
progress.
And then transitioning into what it's going to look like for the rest of my life,
Yeah, definitely. Well, thanks a lot for taking some time. Appreciate that. It's been awesome working with you, and I'm looking forward to continuing maintaining your results.
Thank you. I appreciate it.